Hello and welcome to episode 101 of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and here at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are drowning in the details of their personal and professional lives to create simple systems so we can do what matters most. And I just finished recording the interview that you're about to hear with Gwen and Billy Christian, and I am on cloud nine. Multiple times during our conversation, I just had chills all the way down my arms and toes, where I felt so excited and couldn't wait for you to hear their story. They are members of our Steps to Everyday Productivity community. They've been in our program, they've been learning all the stuff, they've implemented it, and just hearing how it locked into place all the good things they were already doing, but helped them to be able to get a stronger framework to reach their goals, just made my day, week, month, year. It was amazing. I loved their energy, their excitement for life, their desire to do good, and their willingness to put in the work required to get a system that actually will help them to be able to make the impact that I know that they are uniquely created to make. I can't wait for you to listen, so I'll just have you jump right in. But if you're listening and you're thinking, what are they talking about? What's a STEP program? Or if you want to see the photo of their good things jar that we talk about, or you want to learn more about the awesome stuff they're doing, come to our show notes page. So that's at learndobecome.com/episode 101. And if you have not yet taken our free introductory class, it's at learndobecome.com/step. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. All right, welcome, Billy and Gwen. We are so glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
So we've been so impressed with what you've accomplished, just the things that you've been able to organize going through our program, decluttering your house, establishing weekly reviews, your routines and responsibilities. I mean, you put this list in our Facebook group, and I would just love for you to share a little bit more of your story, where you were prior to this new adventure that you've been taking, and any advice that you have for people who are getting started. So let's just kind of go back. I'd love to just hear, what were your pain points or what was going on in your busy lives that inspired you to want to take this next step?
Sure. I can talk about pain.
Okay.
We've been married for 7 years now, and we have super different temperaments. And so we've struggled a lot, even as much as we love each other, to communicate well. Mm-hmm. He is a melancholic temperament. He loves to analyze things. He has endless amounts of questions. I want to make a decision and get going. And sometimes I get caught on the frustration of how in depth. And I was raised, like, my mom raised me to be an organized person. Like, she made me read Organizing from the Inside Out when I was growing up. So there was a season of our marriage where we were trying to figure out, how do we make our life work together? I'm like, well, let me tell you, because I know. He's like, well, what does this word mean? And I'm like, I need to go bang my head against the wall. So there were aspects of what we found in STEP that we had, but the analogy I remember you giving once was having pieces of a car without the engine running, and then all of a sudden it's like the car is built. So we found you through Facebook, and after I watched the initial webinar, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be so great, because it would be a third party that would be defining the terms, and Billy and I could listen to it together and both learn. So it's not me trying to like tell him what to do. And I had him watch it, and he was like, yeah, I could get on board with this. And the timing of that really collided with all of the coronavirus stuff. Yeah. And we're both totally self-employed. So we had the option of saying, why don't we just put life on pause for a week and tunnel through this like an intensive boot camp. And that's a great privilege that we had the option of doing that. But we still, like, he has his own office space and I have mine. So we'd get up in the morning, have breakfast, come into this space, and we would watch the opening video for a module, and then we'd kiss each other goodbye, and he would go do work in his space and I would work in mine. And we have found that that's a dynamic that's working really well for us personally, because our styles are so different, and because sometimes I'm firing so quickly he doesn't keep up with me, and sometimes he really wants to go deep on questions and I'm like, babe, you're losing me, but I know that you need this. So for us, it worked really well to watch a module in the morning together, talk about it a little bit, and then go work in our little zones. And at the end of the day, we had the check box outside in our hallway. And when we were finished with a manjo, we would check it off together and we would do a little happy dance. Like, yeah, we did it.
You guys are so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll let you keep going, but oh my goodness. I love that you figured out how your styles needed to kind of, work together, how to collaborate, but give each other that space. That's how Eric and I are too. I'm here in my office and he's like on the other side of the wall. He had some other meetings and things he needed to do today. But as we work very differently, and I think that mutual respect, recognizing Eric doesn't need his desk totally clear. I do. But he's okay having some things out, and he just works a little differently. He still gets the things done he needs to do, but he's going to work a little differently. I'm way more like type A about wanting everything, all my emails to zero and all my papers put away. And Eric's just a little more flexible on that. But being able to make sure we have a system where we can depend on each other, but show each other that respect for, how we work differently, I think that is so key. So I love that you did it. And the happy dance, oh my gosh, like so cute. You guys are so cute.
Well, and I would say like she said, there's probably a bunch of things that over the years we've talked about trying to do this. And like, I know the posts, it looks like we just did, 7 years worth of stuff in a week, when really this is one more of those, 7 year in the making overnight success stories. I mean, we both are big on reading and personal development. And I know, I think it was probably 2 years ago-ish, I just realized my brain is so much in this like certain way of thinking about things. Like I keep taking a new job because it pays a little more and the benefits are a little more, but I don't actually like any of these jobs that I keep taking. It's just like, oh, we can get a little closer to like keeping our head above water. And then, but really we've got these dreams of building a network marketing business and just being debt free and being able to give. And right now it's like, can we, we're just like struggling with all these things. So we talk about it. And we're like, oh yeah, we want to do this thing. And then we would go over, start talking about something else. And in my mind, I'm like, these things, we can't do both of these, but we have this conversation, we have that conversation. And, so like, I knew that we needed to get this stuff together in one spot, but we struggled to do it. As soon as we would start, there are certain topics that would just like trigger, and then we're upset, and then the conversation gets nowhere, and we go into different rooms, unhappy with each other. And
I really appreciate your honesty in talking about this, because Eric and I, like everything that you're talking about, like that's where we were, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years ago, where we had all these dreams and goals and things we would talk about, but it was like, okay, get up early. I've got the kids. He's going to work, community, church responsibilities, all that stuff. Come home, turn on the TV, watch TV for like 3 hours, go to bed feeling like we're just going to do it all again tomorrow. I mean, it was so frustrating. And we had this office that was just piled high with just boxes, and there's no room for us to sit in there and work. And if we did go in there to work, we didn't know we were focusing on, because we kept like having all these things we had to do. And it's amazing how much the little stuff, just like your weekly reviews, and I want to hear more about those, how you guys started doing those, but
absolutely,
just the weekly reviews and the conversations, and let's get focused and let's figure out how to stop spinning our wheels, because the default is that you're just going to spin your wheels. Like I would say most of the world, I mean, I don't know, I'm not in everyone's homes, but at least from my experience, like most of the world, spinning your wheels is super normal. And it's either you get used to it or you have to make a change to get out of that.
Yeah.
And that's where like, I keep experiencing more and more, even just friends, you have conversations with friends and everybody's like, yeah, I do, we're like that too, or I have that struggle too. And I just think it's way smarter to just get it out in the open and just say stuff. And I know sometimes it can be embarrassing to share stuff, but it's so much better to be like, yep, I'm struggling with this, because usually there's, hundreds of other people who are like, oh, that's us too, but nobody else seems to be struggling, so we're just going to pretend we're not. But
they are, really, they are. And I think that's Oh, go ahead. Sorry, what you're saying.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm saying that's what a lot of people say once they come into our Facebook group. A lot of times people won't post for a while. You know, they're kind of scrolling through to see, like, does anyone get me?
Yeah.
And then they just take this big, deep breath and say, okay, I'm not alone. You guys all understand where I'm coming from. And I just love the feel in the group where we're all there to cheer each other on because we get it. Like, we get it that life is just ups and downs, a little crazy.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I just wanted to say, just to wrap this portion, like where we were coming from, the dynamic between us, I mean, we don't have any children yet. And I mean, that's been a struggle because we want children and it hasn't happened yet. And so then we've got this dynamic between us where we get frustrated with each other, and then we go our separate ways, and then we get more frustrated as we make all those observations, and we have nobody else to diffuse it. You can't take it out on the kids. It's just, we just end up, you know, and there's so many things over 7 years that have built up. And so then when Gwen said, hey, well, actually, just the other day, there's a few things that I had put in my inbox, and then I literally, like, I haven't really touched the inbox because it was all old stuff, and I was like, oh, this is just the last vestiges, and then I wasn't using it. So I was starting to go through it again, and I found in this notepad, I was, like, putting papers in different areas, and this is something I wrote in October. I just got a new job as a manager, and I am not in that job anymore. And this is probably going to give you some idea of part of why. So this is literally what I wrote on October 5th, 2018. Starts out with, I live as if I remember everything I'm supposed to do. I do not have a system to remind me. I need to write things down and regularly review. So that was... I mean, that's like just obvious. Like when I was writing it down, it was obvious. It was something that I knew. I've always struggled to use planners and calendars. In school, they would give us one at the beginning of the year. Even in college, at our college, they gave us one. And that first day, man, I write those first class things down. And then I pick it up a month later. I'm like, oh, I did use it. Thought I never used it, but I actually did write something in here.
Where I'm a happy planner. I have a cart full of planner supplies. I'm obsessed with planners. It's like my hobby to use my planner. I'm like, why don't you use it?
So I'm definitely the thinker, the analyzer, and I analysis paralysis constantly. There's no question, and I know that. She just goes and thinks and asks questions later, and I'm like, so she's like, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, well, why? Why would we do it that way? What are there other ways? Like maybe we could just... And like sometimes I'm ready, I just need like 2 minutes to like, let's just make sure we're thinking a little bit. And she's like, Billy, I could have been done by now. Why are we, why do I do anything? And then we're just, and nothing happens again.
So then step happened for us. And we had the ability, we had like a tool to say 2-minute rule. Like if it's going to take less than 2 minutes to do it and more than 2 minutes to talk about it, just let me go do it.
Yeah.
2-minute rule.
Well, so she comes to me and she's like, hey, I've seen this advertisement. I want you to look at it. I just like, she's learned she's got to give me the time to think about it. Otherwise I feel rushed. I'm just like, no, can't do it. So she's like, hey, I want you to look at this. Will you consider it? And like, I was already open, really. And so we watched the first
the original
webinar.
Yeah.
We
the Drowning
it.
in Piles webinar.
Yeah. Which she had watched it once, and then we watched it again, and I was like, let's do it. And looks like they've got like a 4 Saturday. Let's just do it this week. Let's just do the 4. She was like, what? She's ready to like, okay, by the end of June, like we can have this finished. And I'm like, let's just dive in because we've got the time. We actually financially we can do that right this moment. And I know that if I take too long doing it, I'm just going to be overthinking things along the way. I was at a point where I knew I needed some massive action to just like clean out and set up a system that I can figure out how to work. So.
Okay. So I love this. I want to bring up a couple points here that you guys have just touched on. One of them is when you have a system that requires willpower, it doesn't work, right? Because unless you love opening a planner, like Gwen does, like I do, right? Like we're kind of soul sisters. If you love opening your planner and you love working with it, great. You're most likely going to be somewhat productive, at least, even like the least productive person, if they like planners, they're going to get their checklist done for the most part. But what I found, like for me, which Gwen, I'm sure you can relate to, is there's probably still some stress because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't like fit in the planner. Like, well, what about this item that I need to do next Thursday, but it has this paper and where does that go? Right. Like there's still usually some kind of piles. So even though I loved planners and I had planners and I decorated them and color coded and had the planner light that gave me a lamp over my planner in college. I mean, I was such the planner nerd, but I still had stress. But then like Billy, what you're saying, you had the intentions and the desire. There was no reason you didn't want to be organized, but you probably just had a lot going on in your life, a lot of things you're thinking through. The fact you're a thinker, you're a planner, you're contemplating, your brain can only handle so much. And so if a planner requires willpower, you're just not going to open it because you have other things that are taking priority. And so getting like a system that just works, that works for the planner lover or works for the planner hater. Like David Allen always says, the creator of GTD, is that, oh, planners are having the system lets me be lazy. I can be as lazy as I want to be because the system's going to take care of it for me and I can go enjoy my life. And then the other thing I love, Billy, that you were saying, and both of you as you're talking about it, is I think that there is so much value in having someone in your life who helps you pause and helps you question, right? Because sometimes and Eric's definitely that for me, because I'm the person who's like, okay, what's the next action? Let's go ahead and move forward and let's get all our projects done. And I want to move fast. And Eric is so good to me to say, April, let's just slow down a minute. We don't have to do everything right this minute. We can think about it. And he's helped me probably do like 20% of what I wanted to do, which gives me so much time to like rest and read and like take it easy, because I feel like he gives me that space in my life. So I think like that balance and that kind of tension is so good. But I also love that you said this was like that 7-year overnight success. I mean, you had been thinking about it. You had been reading and preparing and experiencing pain points. And you were to the point you're like, well, I'm ready. And we try to make the risk as low as possible, where it's like, yeah, if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. You don't have to stay in it. We're not holding you hostage. But we want you to be able to make that investment and make it a big deal, And I love this transformation you're having. Okay, so where do you want to take us next? What do you want to tell us about?
I'd love to talk about like the biggest aha moments that I had going through the program, both for me personally and then what I thought was the biggest blow up, for our marriage.
Good blow up or bad?
Yeah,
blow up?
like transformational explosion. Yes, we've had both. For me personally, being able to distinguish between task, routine, and project. Because I love writing to-do lists, but I was putting projects on my to-do list and then wondering why those things weren't getting done. And to be able to say, okay, actually this is a project and I can only have 7 or 8 projects on my plate at a time. And that also really empowered us, because we both, like, part of what brought us together and made us fall in love was we have big ideas and we want to get a lot out of life. And we want to, we have lots of things we'd like to do, but to be able to prioritize and say, okay, this is what we're doing right now. And these are our someday things. And this is our next in line. To be able to sit down together and especially doing the mind sweep exercise. I had no idea how many things were in my mind, because I use a planner. Like, I expected it to be Santa's naughty or nice list coming out of his brain, because he has a lot of thoughts. But for me, I was stunned, like, whoa, all these things were rattling down. So the first 2 weeks after we started STEP, I had like a piece of paper and a pen by my bed, and I would keep waking up like, oh my gosh, more. I can't believe these things are bubbling up because I've freed up this.
Kind of emotional, don't you think? That process.
But then as it went from a fire hydrant to a dripping faucet, several days.
What was that fire? The original fire hydrant gush was?
The mind sweep.
Yeah, and what hours did you spend on that mind sweep?
Many.
Like,
you got a lot.
You didn't go to sleep. I literally got up in the morning. I was like, wow. I always get up before her. And I'm like, how did you get up? And she just looks at me and goes, what do you mean? And it was like 8:00 in the morning. And I was like,
Oh my gosh. You had so much in your brain.
And it was the opposite for me. My mind sweep, I was like these things, like these are the things I'm always thinking about. Oh, like, sometimes, and then I start going through and I'm like, okay, now if I go to this category right now, I'm just making it all up. I'm like, I'm just going to start thinking of all the things in the world I want, all the places I want to go. Like I'll have to research it to like, nope, that's project for another time. Like my mind sweep did not take nearly. So it was surprising to us that mine was short, quick. Hers, that was the fire hydrant. And then for days, just this and this and this.
Mm-hmm. And for me, even though that was like an intense few days, when I got to the end of it, I had this sense of like, dude, I'm excited about life. I got things to do. I'd forgotten how many goals I used to have because I had just gotten so like, that sort of slogging through adulting mindset.
Oh, that gives me chills. I love that so much.
Behind you.
Sometimes. So getting to the end of the mind sweep and the other aspect of that was to consolidate my landing spots. Like I had a lot of places where, things on my phone and things on Pinterest and favorites in my internet browser. I actually wrote out a document of like all the places I could think of and how could I consolidate them. And I think it was like 26 different landing spots.
So that probably took so much time for you just to check them all, right? Uh-huh. I mean, that was a big deal.
But now I've got it down to 5.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's huge. I mean, even just that, if your brain doesn't have, is 26?
I think it was 26. It was more than 20. Yeah.
Okay. That
was big for me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So like when you guys are talking transformation, this is really a transformation. I mean, you guys have started just doing things in just a focused way to help you to be able to use all your energy. 'Cause I can tell just by talking with you. You are like good people. You have goals. You are willing to put in effort. So many times people are like, oh, if someone's overwhelmed, they're just lazy. I couldn't disagree with that more because the people, and I'm sure you've already met them in our community, these are the people with all the ideas, the ones who have to stay up all night because they're like, I want to do so much in my life. Yeah. But it's that overwhelm that when you just don't, you don't want to waste your energy, right?
And the miracle of it, especially the mind sweep for her, but just this whole getting all this stuff, as you say, like into that external hard drive and taking it out of your brain, but you still know where it is.
Yeah.
Like she didn't go take a nap later on. And that's that's a normal thing for us. Like, oh, we're up late, and then we get up and you're like, I didn't get a lot of sleep. I'm going to go take a nap. And she was up all night and then just kept on going with the day, and never did. And she was just feeling so much energy and so free from not having that stuff.
It was very empowering.
I think that was probably the biggest one for you for sure. For sure.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I mean, I hope you got your sleep by now. You're catching up on your sleep. Yeah. But I stayed up till 3:30 in the morning the day I learned how to get my emails to 0. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to bed until these are done. Because yes, it's like finally you can see that light at the end of the tunnel. And when you're living in that tunnel all the time and thinking, I'm never going to enjoy my life again. I mean, that's how I felt for a long time. I know it sounds silly. And then you feel guilty for feeling that way because you're like, oh, I know I have so many blessings and I have such a great life. And why am I not excited about it? But then when you finally do get that excitement back, because you don't have to carry it all in your head, it's huge.
Yeah.
Who's this?
We have a few animals and they tend to hang around.
I love it.
Both in the same room. I'd say for us as a couple, the two things that had a really big impact were first the common terminology. Like by going through STEP, we had names for things. Yes. So now I can say well, that's in my incubation file and he knows what I mean. Even if the physical look of my desk is different than how he's organized his workspace. Yes. And I'm not having to this is what this word means. So there were a couple times that we had to go back through the STEP module and be like, okay, how did April and Eric, how did they define this word? So we make sure that we understand.
We have a glossary coming. It's in process, a more formal glossary.
That we run into a lot. Gwen will say something and then I think I understand her. And then later on, she's like, I said this. I'm like, yeah. I know you did. And then she's like, well, then why did you XYZ? And I'm like, because I thought I was doing it right. And do you listen to me? Or vice versa. Like, didn't we talk about this? Yeah, I did it. Like, so just, that was a struggle. And it still is. We're finding that it's easy to use the same word and you think you're being so clear, and then the other person just understands it differently because we think so differently. Yeah. And so figuring that out, so having that common terminology and knowing like this is what this is, having those places for things, and knowing that we're both working on it and trying to use that same system.
So an example of how that like transformed us, we were trying to have like a weekly meeting to go over the calendar, to check on the status of our budget, yada, yada. But and I remember when we sat down for our first joint weekly review, something came up. I can't remember who said it, but my response was, babe, I think that's a project rather than a task. And he's like, yeah. And then we both said, okay, what kind of project is it? And we put it on the someday list. So we had been able to process through that discussion together and come to a resolution and a decision so much more quickly than we'd ever been able to do before. And then there were other things where it was like, actually, this is just a task, like a one-off, and it would take less than 2 minutes. I'm going to go do that right now. I'll be right back. So it's not perfect. And because we have really a backlog of decisions that we needed to make, or things that we needed to resolve that we just kind of got so frustrated about that we let them hang there. And so as we've been, Lolek, sit. We have a dog.
Love
it. Lost my train of thought. Wet dog.
You're talking about the backlog. You were
get them out, and so they're not.
No stress. Well, no, you were just saying that there was a backlog of projects and backlog of things that you guys are still working through.
Yeah. So when people see on that Facebook post about the number of weekly conversations we're having, we are both reminding each other that we don't think this will always be necessary to have like this many separate things. But we would sit down to have a conversation about our business. We're distributors with Young Living essential oils, and something would pop up that was actually a marriage issue. And it would be hard for us, especially if somebody was feeling really hurt, not to have that take over the conversation. So us specifically in the life we live, we needed to create a space for all those things. And so we started having, aside from, like, we have date night, and we agreed the focus of date night is fun. We're not going to like talk about issues.
Talk about problems.
But we set aside a time for talking about our marriage. And a specific thing that we've done in the last month is create space for, hey, this is what would make our marriage a 10 this week if you would do this for me. And that is framing it in such a positive and encouraging way rather than can you please stop? You did this wrong. I'm mad about this. I'm offended. And the other thing was, when we have those meetings, we each get to say, here's one thing I would really appreciate if you would do. And there's no argument about it. And we're not overwhelmed with like, here's the laundry list of all the things I don't like. But it was just as simple.
I hear you.
It was as simple as really saying, okay, my one thing this week is, could you please make sure that all the hair is out of the bottom of the shower before you leave? And I don't feel defensive about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's my one thing. And my one thing for you is this. But then that also has empowered us not to be like pestering each other about petty things throughout the week. We had an incident where we were like leaving to go somewhere, and Billy started asking me something about, I don't know, a piece of garbage or I don't know, something in the carport. And I looked at him and I was like, is this your one thing? And he was like, no, let's go. And it's helped us to just give each other a lot more grace. So, I mean, it's not as though our marriage is free of conflict and we always agree, and it's not like that. But there's been such a shift that we had a date a few weekends back where there was just space to breathe because conflicts in the marriage weren't hanging over things. And we had the budget conversation, and we had the calendar conversation, and we've been working on the routines in the house. So we could just like actually hit pause without stuff in our brain.
I love it.
And to sit down and have a dinner where we could just like talk about an idea, talk about current events, talk about a dream, talk about what we were reading, and not have a dynamic of we have problems we need to solve and decisions we need to make hanging over that time. Like, I totally credit going through Step Mastery with enriching our marriage in that particular way. That there has been such an increase of peace in this house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For me, when the two big things that were just like relief for me were the three categories of projects. For me, like, I'm like, yeah, I get projects. I don't have to always do the house stuff and the like, I get projects, but me and then family, and then that other is one of those, and you only get a couple projects in other.
Yeah.
And the way we were always talking and dreaming and planning and hoping, it was like, all right, we have 107 home projects. We have our marriage, which is like the biggest and most important project of all. And the most strugglesome one a lot of times, it feels like. And then you have like your future and your career and your finances and like the 100 million parts of those that if you want any hope of your dreams coming true, you have to make sure you're doing all that.
Plus our community and our church and like
life beyond those people. That stuff. That apparently, Jesus said is important, I guess.
So do you mind sharing one of your For Me projects? Can you think of one, Billy?
Yeah, I've had a book idea for a long time, and I've kind of dabbled in brainstorming for it and stuff, and like I started working on it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have like chills all the way down to my fingertips just listening to you guys, what you're modeling, because I think every single one of us can relate. Like there were some times when Eric and I first started doing weekly reviews together that one of us, well, no, it was me, I'd always leave crying. Because it was just like there was so much emotion and there's so much writing on it. And then you start talking about calendars, but then you're like, well, we can't go to this because of this. And then that's the problem that you start bringing up or whatever. And you're so right, because once we learned how to separate it, like, okay, we're just doing calendar right now. We're not going to talk about the kids. We're not going to talk about the stresses going on or this problem. We're just doing calendar. Where are we going to be? And then projects. Okay, what are our projects? What are we moving? Just being on the same page with that. Like, are we trying to do that backyard project or no? Like, just yes or no. It doesn't matter. Just tell me which one, right? But being able to just do that. There was one time where I was just, sometimes, there's underlying stuff going on and you don't really even know how to articulate it. You just know like you're bothered about something. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking to Eric about that one time and I just said, I think I need to go talk with one of my coaches. I'm just really bothered. I just need to kind of work through a mood log or something. And he said, well, do you need to go to a coach or can you just sit with me and do it? Because I'll sit with you and we can go through it. I'm like, do you really want to sit with me for 2 hours while I cry and write down all my feelings? He's like, yes, if that will help you, I will do it. So we're like, okay, Tuesday afternoon at 3, we're going to sit down and we're going to do it. He's like, okay. So we sit down and I get out my little thing and I'm going through the process and writing it down and he listens and it solved like, I would say 50% of the stress I was feeling just went away. And there's still stuff I had to do to kind of work through some of it, but we were just able to get on the same page. And it's not that Eric didn't want to help me. He just didn't know what my problem was. And I didn't know either. But the fact when you can sit down and say, okay, well, what's our next step? How would we solve this? What would we do? Then we don't have the underlying tension. And then when a problem comes up, we know we have the skills to deal with it. And we're like, okay, we'll put that on our next meeting and we'll get through it. But it gives you that confidence, like you're allies, you're working together and neither one of you wants the other to fail. It's just that we're human. We have problems, but you guys are learning how to solve it. Like I don't even know if you guys can see like how amazing you are, but I'm just telling you guys, you're amazing. Like this is awesome.
That's nice. I was looking for that list that you had written.
Yeah, I jotted down some notes.
Is it this one? Oh,
I don't know what you're looking for, dear.
You were talking before the podcast, and there was something.
Oh, aha moments or something.
I can't tell. Is this the list that you wrote for the podcast? Oh, I guess is it multiple lists on there?
I think that my list
that was, there was something on it, and I was trying to remember.
Ahead.
I was like, what was the second thing? There were two things, and I lost the second one.
I love you guys. You're just so cute to watch.
What? it was one of yours too, and that was the tasks versus the routines. Because me being so like meticulous when I go to do something, like, is every time I try to use the calendar, I'm like, well, if I'm going to use this calendar, I can't just put some things on, or else I'll only do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's start. And like, well, you start out waking up in the morning, and by the time I've like got all the things on there, I'm like, okay, well, that's just like getting up and getting ready for the day, but I have no more room here for the morning part of this calendar space or the day at all. Like, how I can't, this is too much. So it's been huge for me. And I know I've commented multiple times when I see other people like, what do I do with this? Is this a project or routine? I'm like, I got this. Routines are things you do regularly. Projects are something that has an end. Like,
love it.
It's been so clarifying to me to just be able to say, oh, I do have a place where I put my routines. I don't always have to like check off every single thing on that routine list. But some days I do. If I'm trying to establish the routine,
Yes.
like it is good for me to be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. This thing. Oh, I forgot to do that thing. Okay. So that's been really, really awesome and freeing for me, because every time, and our conversations, it's strugglesome for her because we start to have a conversation and I'm like, point A, wait. I need to understand point A. I need to make sure we're clear on A. And she's like, LMNOP, what? A? What? And I'm like, where'd you go? I don't know where you went. So I feel so much more relieved in this part where it's like, I don't have to get my waking up part, or like I know those things are over here and I can work on the calendar with these project or the scheduled appointments, or like I know where it all is, but it doesn't all have to be in my
so visually overwhelming, right? Like when you have so much, I used to do that, put all my routines on my app or whatever, and then I didn't want to open it because I was like, who wants to live this life? It just looks so hard. But I love the focus that you've created, right, to be able to do this.
And we've like for the month of June, our joint project for home and family is just to continue working on our routines. Awesome. Because we've seen such a value in, like, we're big fans of the compound effect and atomic habits, and really wanting to encourage each other. Like, what are the things that, like, when you were talking about determining your projects for the month and saying, what's the one thing that if I did it, it's going to make everything else easier or irrelevant? And I've been able to say, like, if we will take care of ourselves physically and make sure we're drinking water, we're getting exercise, we're taking our supplements, that is like a springboard for having the energy to do all these other things. And it helps me to prioritize that aspect of our routines. Like, so even though we started in April, we're still in June. Like, our home and family project is
awesome.
Keeping going with learning the routines. And we had a conversation just last night. Like, we've been having a lot of conversations with what's going on in the country the last couple of weeks. Yeah. And I had said to Billy, I said, right now for the summer, I have these and these projects, like for the next 90 days, this is what I'm focusing on. But then come September, one of my 8 projects for the month is going to be making sure that I am the most informed voter I have ever been.
I love that.
And to be able to identify, like, that's going to be
a project.
Leading up to the election. Like, I really need to devote some time to that and having a space for it.
Yeah. I love that you just said that, and recognizing that that's a project and that's going to take some bandwidth, because otherwise it's like, oh, I want to do that. And then life gets so busy and voting day comes and you're like, wait, what happened? Was I supposed to vote, right? You don't want to get there. But recognizing, like, as things have been going on in the country and your heart's filled with compassion and concern, when you don't have anything to do with that, you just feel kind of stuck and you feel like you're not doing your part, or there's all those feelings that come. But when you can say, okay, well, what's one project I can do? Like, I love this. I'm going to be a very informed voter. I'm going to use my vote and use this energy I have to do this. And each person, might have different ways they're going to think about it. But yeah, it gives your brain a way to rest and then not feel guilt or frustration or stress,
that sense of overwhelm. Like there are still moments since we've done step where I start to go there and I'm like, hold on. If I'm spiraling, like come back to these principles and come back to like calming my mind. No, I can't deal with everything all at once. I cannot do 200 projects. I cannot change the world, and clean my house and like all the things. But what can I do?
Yeah.
I can always give myself a microburst.
Yeah.
If I'm starting to feel like I'm out of control, and get a grip on, okay, where am I? What do I need to be doing? What's the next thing? I have so much clarity from having done that mind sweep.
Yeah.
And really taken the time to prioritize that stuff. Like, I actually know what I'm supposed to be doing. I just need to maybe look at it again because I'm starting to go off someplace. And so one change that we've made when we have our weekly review together, at the end of it, we always write like something to go in our good things jar. Like what happened this week that we can celebrate, just one thing. And to be able at the end of the year to open up that jar and see all of the things worth celebrating.
Did we do that? And we did it before.
We've done it.
I think we did it a couple years ago, and then I don't think we did it really. We started it last year, and then we realized,
But to see that it was a perfect way to finish our weekly review together.
Oh my gosh. Can you send me a picture of that?
Sure.
I want a picture of your good things jar. Table. That is so great. Cause was that in addition to your 2020 victories? You said in Trello, you're doing like victory 20. So good things is different.
Yeah. Good things. We're just like celebrating something that happened. Like I was able to see my family for an outdoor socially distanced barbecue Friday night. That was the best part of my week. I want to remember how good that was. I wrote it and put it in the jar.
It's not complicated.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
On it.
So when we have our weekly review, we just like one thing, and sometimes we have more than one thing, but we can at least think of something good. And
oh my gosh.
That's been really transformative. And to remind ourselves, like the idea of just adding the good things jar to the tail end of our weekly review, that was one change. It was not a huge amount of effort, but the effect that that's had on like raising the level of gratitude in the house and things like making sure that we have a quick nightly tidy in our evening routine.
Yeah.
So one of the things in the list, we said we did KonMari, and like we started KonMari several years ago. We did clothes, we did books, we got to paper, and my sweet, wonderful husband who had never thrown away a piece of paper, like he had boxes of notes from middle school. We got stuck there. And eventually I was like, okay, I guess this isn't getting finished. As soon as we finished Step Mastery, we were both like, guess what the first project is that we need? So when people are like, you did that in a day? I'm like, listen.
Nope.
Clothes and books were done. Like Step Mastery unkinked the problem we were having with the paper category.
So wait, this is our third year in this house, and we started it in the other house before we moved
here.
Paper is tricky. Paper is like the trickiest part. I love that.
And I mean, as I said before, I didn't have a real system for remembering things. I just was relying on my brain, and that seems to not be improving as time goes on. I don't understand it, but as time goes on, I'm not improving in that area. So anyway, I was definitely like out of sight, out of mind, which means everything has to be in sight.
Yeah.
So everything just gets piled and it's just there. And then, so in college, it's like, end of the year, you got to pack it all up. So like, I'm not going to sit there and go through. Nope. Take the piles, put it in the box. And I know there are important things in those boxes.
Right. So you don't want to throw it away.
Literally just kept following me around from moving to Illinois and then back to Michigan and then to Virginia and then back to Michigan. Married and then
how many boxes are we talking? Like
there were at least 20.
I'd say. Yeah. So this 20 boxes. I don't think all of that was paper. But there, I mean, just carrying it around and like, I don't want to deal with it.
I'll put it this way. When his parents would come to visit during our first 18 months, there was we found another box. And I'm like, I don't want your mom and dad to come over. They're going to bring another box.
Oh, they kept bringing boxes.
From their house.
Some of it was stuff that
here's Billy's things. And I'm
some
like,
of the things, my mom is the one that kept all of our notebooks from first grade all the way through. So
okay.
all those. But yes.
And there's treasures in there, and you know
Yes.
you can't just like burn it because you're like, oh, some of this is really important. But
Like
the brain space.
$200 that we found.
Oh, did you?
Cash.
Yeah.
Love that.
The check my dad gave me when I graduated college, I asked him if I could cash it. He said no.
My gosh.
Yeah, that, like we'd read the Life Changing Life of the Tidying Up, and we saw her radical recommendations about throwing away a lot of paper. But when he went through one box, he'd found like $40 or $50. And I'm like, I'm going to sidestep Marie and say, go ahead and go through them boxes. Because if there's money in them, I want you to find the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like analysis paralysis. He wanted to go through every box. I wanted him to go through every box, but we never progressed past that. And so the category of kimono, of like the physical objects that aren't clothes, books, paper, or sentimental items, that's what was bothering me.
Yeah.
And we did it. We did that category in one day.
Oh my gosh.
And it has stayed tidy. And like, we try to give each other grace, but my measuring stick is if it's a mess that can take less than 15 minutes to fix, then I'm not going to get real stressed out about it.
Yes, I love that.
And the house has stayed tidier than any space I think either of us has ever lived in. At least I know it's true for me.
I love that.
Because I work from home so much, that's important to me, that space is not stressful. So that was a really big deal.
So I love that we've been able to just like play a small part. I mean, you guys came to this program ready, prepared, dedicated. I mean, some people like don't open the program and you're like,
Right.
like, I can't help if you don't open it. You guys came like, we're going to make this happen. We're going to give it a try. And you did it and you implemented it successfully. What would you say to someone who's kind of on the other side, who's, thinking they would love to have what you have? They want to have a weekly review. They want to know what their projects are. They want to go through all their boxes. But they feel like, well, yeah, it works for other people, but my mess is like way worse. Like I can't, I'm stuck forever. Like I'm not getting out of this. What would you say to that person?
I'd say there's two things that have stuck with me for a while. One of them for a long time, and that's that like the way that you have been thinking is what got you here. Mm-hmm. And so in order to get out of it, you have to think differently. The way you got here is not the way you're going to get out.
I love that.
And so changing your mindset about it, changing the way that you do things, like it requires change.
Yeah. And not in a shame-filled way, because it's not like you should feel shame about how you thought. I just like the way I grew up. I didn't know there was another way. I legitimately didn't know. So.
And it's not going to happen overnight. That's the other part. Like you read the post that Gwen put up there and you might think like, oh my gosh, they just did it. And it's like, oh my gosh, we've been working on this for 7 years and struggling. And like, Gwen's like, okay, we're going to do KonMari. And I'm like, okay, this will be a good thing. I know I'm not super excited. She's super excited, but I know it will be good. So we'll try. And then I hit a wall and then she's like, ugh. Or just trying different things and it works. We do it for a while and then it stops. And we do it for a little while and then it stops. So not quitting, I think, is the biggest thing out of that. And then the phrase I love, and I say it all the time, is progress, not perfection. Mm-hmm. I tell myself that all the time. Yeah. Because I'll start, what's the best way to do this? And how can I, and maybe I need to look into, and it's, nope, just do 10 minutes right now. And a lot of times I end up doing more. But
I love how sincere you are, and like, okay, and how honest you are. Like this, it just is so refreshing, especially. And and I'm not saying like male, female stereotypes, but sometimes it is especially hard for males to just be like, hey, this was hard and now I changed. Like the fact that you are just human and showing us what you're doing, I just have like, so much respect for both of you, like how you've made this happen, because it's awesome.
If I can add just a smidgen onto what Billy was saying, you've said a few times during this conversation about how a lot of people sometimes they buy the program and they don't even open it. Mm-hmm. And starting is sometimes the hardest thing. I would just like over the moon recommend to people the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins.
Awesome.
She talks about like when you have an instinct to move toward a goal, like don't wait. more than 5 seconds, or that hesitation, like your brain's going to want to protect you. It's going to stop you. And what I thought was genius about Step Mastery, and we were able to like gift the self-study. We wound up giving it to my mom, who has some piles. I love her dearly. And I'm like, Ma, here's what's great about this. You don't have to decide what to do first. You go in their program, you click on module 1, step 1, they give you instructions of the microburst. So whether you have 10 minutes or 2 hours or 3 days to be able to sit down and work on it, you don't have to worry about what to do next. They've made it's and once you get in there, it's almost like a video game. Like you can see, like, look at me go, and you start to build momentum that way. But I would say for people that feel overwhelmed, to break out of that overwhelm, you have to change your mindset. And if you're struggling, I can't recommend the 5-second rule enough, because it's as simple as like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Just go. Even if it's 10 minutes of.
I'm going to add it to my book list because I haven't read that one yet. That sounds awesome. Okay.
So good. So good.
Love it so much. Oh, thank you guys so much. I can't even tell you, like, I have just been smiling through this whole interview, just watching you two, because like you're teaching me your example. It really means so much to our community, to me and Eric, because all of us are working on improving, right? And you showing like, hey, we've had things that were hard. We're just going to keep moving forward. That's what all of us need. I mean, Eric and I were even sitting in the backyard today and we were laughing because this morning, literally everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. Like things were breaking. We're getting these random emails. We're looking at each other like, what? Like, feeling like we're making zero progress today. Cause he's like, is the world just entropy? Is it just everything's falling apart? You know, I want to feel like we're making progress. And today was just not one of those days. But recognizing that like, that progress, it's that continuation, right? Like what you guys were doing. It was each day like, hey, that didn't work very well yesterday. We're going to try it better this time. Oh, last week, maybe that wasn't the best weekly review. We're going to do better this time. We're going to put these things in place. And then the more you see what's working and you keep doing those things, like you were talking about at the beginning, that compound effect, the more we just keep doing this, you start seeing the fruits, and then you realize, okay, now I have the space to live my purpose. And I mean, just reading about how now you have done the life coach certification, your business has been doing great. You guys are able to work together and support each other in some awesome goals. Like, I'm so proud of you. And just, I mean, virtual hug. I wish we could be in person. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I hope that as you listened to Gwen and Billy share their story and talk about their triumphs and their struggles and how they're putting things into a framework that really works for them, I hope that it gave you hope. If right now you are feeling overwhelmed, you feel like you've got boxes of stuff or piles of paper, or you have a lot of overwhelm or frustration or concern, and you think, I don't even know where to go, what to do. I feel like this overwhelm will never go away. I want you to know 100% we can help you. Come to our free training to get started at learndobecome.com/step, or to go to the show notes page, see a recap of what we talked about in today's interview, get links, see all the awesome stuff that's going on at Learn, Do, Become. You just go to our show notes page at learndobecome.com/episode 101. Okay, have an amazing day. It means so much to me to have you here. It means so much to our whole community to have you here. Eric and I feel so grateful and privileged to be part of this, and just thank you. Okay, we'll see you soon. Come visit us at learndobecome.com.